All right, guys, so we already know how summer transfer windows work, right? It brings us many moments of excitement, drama, confusion, topics of discussion that really has you thinking what's about to happen this summer, especially considering that this summer it's the World Cup. Best believe we're about to be hit with many, many bombshells, especially when it comes to two of the biggest clubs in the world, FC Barcelona and Real Madrid, where I've been vocal with you guys that I won't believe any of the news surrounding Barcelona until it actually happens. But when you see multiple reliable sources, reliable reporters report the same things of a high possibility of these players actually joining your club, it really gets you excited and it really gets you thinking of course, what this player can offer for your team going into next season. You start thinking about lineups, formations, blah, 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 of this player joining your club, right? It's really exciting. Again, topics of discussion, right? And when it comes to Real Madrid, they just came from a presidential election where the president, of course, nothing changed there. Florentino Perez continues to be president of Real Madrid, but he hit us with a massive bombshell saying that he's going to spend 150 million plus to bring in a Galactico signing. And boom, what a bombshell that was. Many people are starting to think, okay, who is that player going to be? But now we're seeing these last couple of days, other players being linked to Real Madrid, where you're just thinking, wait, what's going on here? These players were linked to FC Barcelona a couple weeks ago, a couple days ago, and now they're being linked to Real Madrid. What is going on here? Let's talk about it. Starting off with this. Real Madrid have now seriously joined the race for Bernardo Silva. Jose Mourinho wants him, and it's now a real possibility. What? It feels like it was just, a couple days ago, even a week ago, where we basically got the here we go that Bernardo Silva will be joining FC Barcelona, because the main clubs that were actually in for Bernardo Silva, because we got massive news that Bernardo Silva wants to make a move to La Liga. So, of course, three big clubs that he could play for: Atletico Madrid, Barcelona, or Real Madrid. And the two clubs that were actually going in for him were Atletico Madrid and Barcelona. Those were the two main clubs that were actually targeting Bernardo Silva to bring him in this summer. And it started with Atletico Madrid really having the main interest, that they were getting close to an agreement, and then Barcelona came knocking on the door saying, hey, we would want you to come to Barcelona next season. And Bernardo Silva really was more keen on joining Barcelona, where we basically got in terms of agreements of everything to happen for him to become an FC Barcelona player going into next season. But then we get massive news from Fabrizio Romano saying that Bernardo Silva is going to decide his future after the World Cup. Even getting some news these last couple days saying that he's more keen now of joining Atletico Madrid instead of Barcelona. The possibility of him joining Atletico Madrid is higher now than joining Barcelona. So a lot of moments of, okay, what is going on here? Like I said, moments of confusion. And then today we hit with this. Like, well, what is this? The Real Madrid are seriously now in the race for Bernardo Silva. Okay, because Jose Mourinho really wants him. Okay, I guess because he's Portuguese, right? But I don't see this really happening. Again, guys, you can, I'm sure there's some Madrid fans that will believe it, but I doubt this is possible, that this is going to actually happen, because for one, Real Madrid don't really go for players that are 30 plus, and Bernardo Silva is of course 30 plus. And again, they're really looking into really elevating the squad and bringing in players that of course will be for now in the future. And Bernardo Silva really isn't that player. You know, Real Madrid aren't really the kind of team to just bring in these old heads or these very experienced players, again, especially if they're 30 plus, just to have them for 1 or 2 seasons. Now they're really going for long-term projects, long-term players that will last them for more than 2 seasons for sure, right? So I don't really see this happening. I think Bernardo Silva's main options will be Atletico Madrid and Barcelona. Again, we've been seeing that now. Apparently, Atletico Madrid are now in the lead to bring in Bernardo Silva. We'll see that happens. I was very confident a couple days ago that Bernardo Silva will be a Barcelona player, but now we're seeing a lot of things come out, especially since now he's considering thinking about his future after the World Cup, and he's also not shutout options besides Barcelona and Atletico Madrid. So it's going to be really interesting to see what Bernardo Silva decides to do. If it happens that he comes to Barcelona, I'd be happy with that. And if it doesn't, I won't be heartbroken. Of course, he is a top player. I think he would still offer a lot of great things for either club that he joins. But hey, we'll see what Bernardo Silva decides to do. So this is a small one, right? This is a small one. This one, I'm like, all right. So, like I mentioned, Florentino Perez said he's going to spend 150 million plus for a top Galactico signing. And everyone started thinking, all right, who that player is. The main person was Olise. Florentino Perez denied it. No, it's not Olise. Like, all right, who is it now? Vitinha, Joao Neves, Kvaratskhelia, Doué, Musiala. Who is it going to be now? because obviously Florentino said no Premier League player. So these are the only players that would be 150 million plus, right? And then a couple days ago, we get hit. Oh no, it is Olise. It actually is Olise. And then Bayern saying, hey, he's not for sale. Even if Florentino were to offer the bid, hey, he's wasting his time. It's not going to happen, right? And then we get hit with this, bro. Oh my God, man. Real Madrid rate Julian Alvarez very highly. They have asked about him. Atletico would sell if an offer of 150 million arrives. Oh my days. Of course, Atletico Madrid have also been a club that have been public saying that Julian Alvarez is an Atletico Madrid player. They're planning next season going in with Julian continuing to be an Atletico Madrid player. Of course, all the shit they talked about Barcelona, dissing Barcelona, dissing Fabrizio Romano after Barcelona have shown real interest of bringing Julian Alvarez in. Since the 100 million bid that got rejected, there has not been any other bid. So, of course, a lot of people start thinking, all right, it's dying down. It's not going to happen now. I don't feel that way. Of course, you would like to see many, more reports coming out to reassure you that Barcelona are still in for Julian Alvarez and that they really want to go in for him. But of course, as of late, we never seen anything, which is it's natural. This is how summer transfer windows go. I'm not going to be too stressed about it, but I would really like to see Barcelona show their hand and really go in for him, because 100 million, we all knew that was going to be rejected. Everyone and their mother knew that was going to be immediately rejected by Atletico Madrid, because they have also been vocal that if Barcelona want Julian Alvarez, either they play with the release clause, which is like I think 400 million for him, which is of course not going to happen, or they give us a good offer to really consider it, which of course the figures have been roaming around 150 million, maybe more than that. And I've been vocal, as much as a lot of Barcelona fans have definitely been vocal, that 120, 130 is the max that we should offer for Julian Alvarez. And obviously, we have been seeing other news that Julian wants to join Barcelona, that he if he were to make a move away from Atletico Madrid, it would be to FC Barcelona. So that's why it makes you like really reassured and excited of these news. Again, summer transfer windows, right? Summer transfer windows. And then we get hit with this. And then we get hit with this. Like, well, what is this, bro? What is this? Because, of course, after Bayern came out saying that Olise is not for sale, even if Real Madrid offered 200 million, and people are really seeing that it's not really possible. As much as it's not possible for other players that you're thinking of as players that could be 150 million plus. Olise obviously was the main person you thought of immediately when Florentino said that, because he is a profile that they would need, and of course, second best right winger in the world behind Yamal, in my opinion. If you don't agree with that, all right, cool. But he is a profile that they would obviously need, because they don't really have a right winger. All right, you can say Endrick, all right, cool, but he's not at the level of an Olise, and of course, Rodrigo, oh, come on, he's not really a right winger whatsoever, right? So Michael Olise makes the most sense. Florentino at first denied it, but now we got news that it is Michael Olise. But Bayern holding that stance that it's not going to happen, that they're not going to sell, they're not going to even think about it whatsoever. Apparently, we got news today that Bayern might consider it if 200 million plus comes in. We'll see what happens from there. But I said in my last video that as much as money, a lot of money is, of course, very valuable, and you can really obviously reinvest that, you also have to think about how valuable the player is himself. And, of course, Michael Olise is, no one gets near him besides Lamine Yamal as a right winger. No one. So he's irreplaceable. So at some point you just really have to think about how valuable the player is, and Michael Olise is that valuable for Bayern Munich. Their best attacker, the numbers that he puts up, the performances that he had, and of course he's still young. He's I think 24, 25. He's still very young, so he has many years to him. He's not even in his prime yet. So of course Bayern Munich are going to think, as much as people will call them crazy for not accepting 200 million, they're still going to think, yeah, for us he's not worth it. Maybe 300 million, but not 200 million, right? So we're really going to see who this player is. But links to Julian Alvarez now. What is going on here? Now that the possibility of Michael Olise coming to Real Madrid has died down a lot, because people are now seeing that this is going to be either a very difficult operation where Real Madrid are going to have to really break the bank, probably break the record of Neymar. We'll see, which I would think it's ridiculous. Now that they're seeing that it's really going to be very difficult, and again, Bayern holding that stance of not selling, now they're thinking of other players that it could possibly be. And people are now saying that Julian Alvarez could possibly be that player, which makes no sense for many reasons. One, he's an Atletico Madrid player. You think Julian Alvarez is going to leave Atletico Madrid to join Real Madrid? Come on, bro. As much as I think that Julian really doesn't have, I guess you can say, that love for Atletico Madrid, let's say compared to like an Antoine Griezmann or a Koke, who of course have been at the club for many, many years. Julian has only been there for 2 seasons. I'm sure he has love and appreciation for the fans and, of course, the support that they give him. And, of course, for the club as well. There's that type of love, that type of appreciation because of what they've done for you, blah, 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 living in the city, living around the fans, blah, blah, blah. You really feel that love. But I don't think he's, deeply in love. Like, let's say Messi was with Barcelona. Like, that kind of level where, of course, you've been in a club for many, many years where it just doesn't cross your mind whatsoever to leave that club. Right? I don't think Julian is at that level. But he still has that level of respect for the club that he's playing for, which is Atletico Madrid, the rivals of another Madrid club, the biggest Madrid club, with Real Madrid. So in what world would he leave them and just hugely disrespect them? Because there's already been many negative talks about him leaving Atletico Madrid to join Barcelona. Atletico Madrid fans have been going crazy on him because of that possibility. Now imagine it being to Real Madrid. Imagine that now being to Real Madrid. That will be another level of hatred because I'm sure Atletico Madrid fans can agree that they hate more Real Madrid than they do Barcelona. That's just the reality. That we could say that's the truth, right? They're city rivals, right? So that's one reason. And the other reason why this would be ridiculous, and I don't think it's ever going to happen, why would they bring in another striker? It makes no sense. Everyone knows the realistic option or the smart option is Michael Olise. But what is Julian Alvarez going to offer you guys? Yes, a top striker, 100%. I think he's better as a striker than Kylian Mbappe for sure. As much as Mbappe has better numbers, I don't care. I think Julian Alvarez is still a better profile as a number 9 or as a false 9 or as a center forward, whatever you want to call it, than Kylian Mbappe. Yes, but then where's Mbappe going to go? I've been hearing that Jose Mourinho wants to test, playing with 2 strikers, but I can understand that maybe, but it makes no sense. It really, truly makes absolute no sense why Real Madrid would even consider going for Julian Alvarez. For one, the real possibility of that not happening because Julian would not want to go to Real Madrid because he prefers to move to Barcelona. And for 2, the profile just doesn't make sense. It really doesn't make sense whatsoever. Again, having that name really gets you excited, really gets you thinking, but come on, really, you gotta be realistic, right? You really have to be realistic, and again, I don't see this happening. But news that this is even coming out, man, it's insane to me. It's really insane to me. But Julian Alvarez's agent says, Real Madrid, nobody has contacted us regarding this matter. We have no information about it, which is just bullshit, right? Just a bunch of bullshit when it comes to summer transfer news. Again, confusion, excitement, drama, blah blah blah. Next up, Florentino Perez. So this reporter said, I'm telling you, the 150 million player is a bomb. Okay, this is after the Olise news that Real Madrid are going for Michael Olise. So this guy's clearly trying to indicate that it's not Michael Olise. It's in fact another player. Okay, what's going on here? It's so unexpected. Okay. When they told me his name, I was frozen in shock. All right, this is that reporter gimmick of, trying to be, so special, blah, 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 blah. Of course, Jose, this guy is from El Chiringuito, so how much really could you trust him or believe him, right? So, of course, he's from El Chiringuito, a show where they really dramatize a lot of things. So, of course, you can understand that the tweets are going to be the same way or his reports are going to be the same way, right? Okay, it really gets you thinking now. And then you get hit with this. From what I hear, the 150 million Galactico is Portuguese. That makes no sense either. Because the only players, Portuguese-wise, that would be worth that amount is Vitinha, João Neves. That's it. Nuno Mendes is not worth 150 million. Hell no. So João Neves or Vitinha. That's it. I was about to say maybe Bruno, but hell no, not Bruno whatsoever. Again, Real Madrid, they're going for players that are 30 plus. And Bruno and Florentino already denied that's from the Premier League. But, he denied Michael Olise. And we got news. We got a bombshell that Olise. I think the player is Olise still. I still think it is. But, again, more news that just makes no sense because there's no Portuguese player unless you're going back in time to bring in back prime Ronaldo. There's just no Portuguese player that's worth anywhere near that amount. So, now it gets you really thinking. Who is this player now? Who really is this player? And I was thinking a bit. What if Florentino Perez was thinking in his imagination land, I did it once, why not try again? Of course, that once was when he brought Luis Figo from Barcelona to Real Madrid, where he made it publicly known that if he becomes Real Madrid president, he will bring in Luis Figo. And of course, who is Luis Figo at that time? The best player in the world. one of the best players in the world, 100%, the best player in the world, Balloons d'Or winner, right? Everyone was looking at this guy as the superstar, like people are seeing the likes of Lamine Yamal now, or the likes of Ousmane Dembele now, blah, blah, blah. He was that player at that time, where you're just thinking, there's no way. There's just no way Barcelona will let go of their star player to join their biggest rival. It makes no sense whatsoever. Florentino promised it, and it happened. What if it's actually in his head thinking that it could happen again? Where, of course, who is that player? Lamine Yamal. What if there was actually a possibility where Florentino just goes insane? I don't know if he tries drugs, if he just tried drugs for the first time in his life and just thinks, maybe I could do it again, guys, and let me go for Lamine Yamal, the best right winger in the world. Again, a profile that would make absolute sense. A superstar, a Galactico signing, like he said, a young player, like he said, a player that would be a signing like Cristiano Ronaldo and Kaká, like he said. That is the perfect Galactico signing that anyone and their mothers could think of. Lamine Yamal. And how much of a bombshell would that be? Like this guy said, a bomb, a bomb, a bomb. How much of a bombshell would that be? An extraordinary one. That if that were actually to happen, I would genuinely be depressed. And I would honestly just have to bow down to Madrid, because how have they done that to us again? Genuinely, how they have to done? I would have to bow down to them, because at that point, I just think we're their sons, where we just give them anything, right? We would just give them anything just because they offer some money. But we're that broke, we're like, oh, we're bitches to them, basically, if that were to happen in an imaginary world where that were to happen. Of course, it's not going to happen. But how insane would that be? Insane. And genuinely, I would love to see Florentino Perez offer a bid for Lamine Yamal. Let's say if he was actually going insane, he was like, it really was Lamine Yamal. I would love to see that happen, because Laporta would shut him down immediately. The second that he send on that bid, Laporta's going to answer, suck a cock. It's not happening, buddy. It's not happening. We already know the relationship between Real Madrid and Barcelona is really broken right now. Florentino even publicly saying, and especially since this guy continues to talk about Negreira, even saying that he wants UEFA to strip Barcelona of all their titles since the Negreira era, which is, of course, ridiculous. We already know the relationship is broken. So Laporta would immediately shut that down, say, suck a cock. It's not happening. Go back to your imagination land, because it's never happening. I'm just throwing it out there. What if there was a possibility that he was actually thinking that it was Lamine Yamal and really tries to pull a Figo again? It's not happening, boys. But hey, guys, more drama when it comes to this 150 million bid that Florentino Perez is really thinking about. Which at this point, I'm so confused. I really don't know who this player Florentino is really talking about. I think it is Michael Olise. I really do think that it's Michael Olise, especially since Olise scored a hat-trick today in a friendly. Best believe Florentino's more in love with him. You know, we got news that Florentino is in love with Michael Olise. I still do think that it's Michael Olise. We will see tomorrow, because Florentino at this point has to deliver. The excitement that Madrid fans have now that a high-caliber player, Galactico signing, is going to come in now, he has to deliver. I mean, of course, he didn't say full on that he's going to make sure that this player becomes a Real Madrid player. No, he said he's going to offer a bid and he's going to try his hardest to bring this player in. Nothing guaranteed, right? But of course, that rep that Florentino has of pulling deals in the past, big deals especially in the past, it really gets Madrid fans really excited of this really happening. So he has to deliver something at this point, because I'm sure Madrid fans are not going to be satisfied whatsoever with just Konate and Dumfries. I'm sure they still are going to reinvest and invest in their squad and get other players. Like we're seeing Enzo being linked to them, which I don't think is going to happen either. But it's really going to really be interesting to see who Florentino is talking about. And tomorrow we will be hit with that bombshell, and I'm here for you, boys. As much as I don't want, but as much as I hate Madrid and really want to see them down bad, I would also like to see big players come to one, La Liga, and two, Madrid, because it will only elevate us even more to beat them and be better than them, right? So we'll see what goes down in the summer transfer window. It's just getting started, but listen, Florentino already hitting us with his bombshell. Now the whole world is going to be tuned in tomorrow to see who this player was or is. And best believe tomorrow, guys, I will be talking about it as well once Florentino announces this, because again, we got news that Florentino himself is going to be the one to announce who this player is. So I'm excited as much as I'm sure Madrid fans are excited to see who this player is. But yeah, guys, Let me know in the comments, guys, what you guys thought about the video, what you guys think about this summer transfer window so far when it comes to Barcelona, when it comes to Real Madrid, how you guys are feeling about basically a lot of news dying down when it comes to a real possibility of these players becoming Barcelona players, because again, we've been practically getting a bunch of these last couple of weeks, we're getting confirmation that this is going to happen. Bernardo Silva, Julian are going to become Barcelona players, and as of recent, it really has died down. Again, I'm not too stressed about it or worried about it because it's natural. But again, it does get you a little bit confused. Like, all right, it was basically done at one point. Now it's dead. What's going on here, right? So tell me what you guys thinking about that. And what do you guys think about these players being linked to Real Madrid as well, especially when it comes to the 150 million signing? Who do you guys think this player is going to be? Let me know all those things down in the comments below. Make sure to like, subscribe, favorite, hit the notification bell for every time you upload. Share to your friends who love football. And I'll see you guys in the next video, whenever that is. Much love. Take care. God bless. And peace.